Let's go. We are live. Power Punchers podcast is back Monday night. How you feeling, D-Style?
Man, I'm ready to go, man. You know how it is on Power Punch. There's no feel out round. There's none of that. We're just ready to go. No, we don't even do that. Whatever you're doing, no, we're like come forward, power punch all day, every day. You know what I'm talking about?
I hit you with that shoulder roll on Power Punchers, but I'm gonna throw a power punch off that shoulder roll. Is what I'm gonna do. All right, so I'm just waiting, and then I'm gonna hit you with that straight right.
All right. That was at 1:30 though.
JC in the building, Nopal in the building, Nando in the building. Nando, we got the boxing trivia back tonight. Let's see if you can knock off Run PMC. If Run PMC is going to be in the building.
You can't ask Alexa, whatever, right about this one, though. You know what I mean? I'm just letting you guys know right now.
You're not going to be quick enough. Run PMC's quick,
I think Run PMC retired from trivia. I could be wrong, but.
Maestro's in the building off that great show. Yeah, man, we got everybody in the building. And, of course, we got D-Style in the building as well, knocked out by Kenny in the building off that great show. And, of course, I'm in the building as well. And the black sheep of the HCP is in the building, G-Funky. Dude, is he really the black sheep of the HCP? Because I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that at all. No, I don't think
I think he heard a rap song and it sounded cool, and he's just like going with it. I think that's what it is.
I think so.
Like
too.
I am whatever you say, Alex.
Yeah. So
it's in a rap song.
This would have been Muhammad Ali's 80th birthday today, if I'm not mistaken. And a day.
Well, we all love you, Funky. You know what I mean? He gets so much love, he doesn't want the love. You know what I mean? I think that's what it is. Like, no.
That is what it is. That is what it is. But no, man, we let's jump straight into some Muhammad Ali talk because he would have turned 80 today. Ali, a historic giant, sharing a day with another historic giant in American history.
His birthday is on Martin Luther King Day. You know,
crazy. Two titans in American history. And when we talk about Muhammad Ali, this is called Power Punchers, this show. And we're going to call Muhammad Ali the historic power puncher of the week. We spent so much time talking about Ali and his hand speed, his foot speed, which were
the hand speed of a middleweight, Alex. You know what I mean? Move
right.
Like a middleweight.
Otherworldly for a heavyweight. But we don't talk much about the sneaky punching power that he had. All right. The knockout, he knocked out George Foreman. I believe he had 37 knockouts in his career. Knocked out George Foreman, knocked out Sonny Liston. So the power punching is underrated when it comes to Muhammad Ali. That's another thing you can add to his repertoire of the deep repertoire that he had. What's your thoughts on Ali as a power puncher?
I mean, like, I'll say this. He took out Sonny Liston in, what was it, the first or second round of the rematch? Yeah. Was it the first?
I thought second, but it might have been the first.
Yeah. I mean, I should know this because I literally have the poster and it says it on it. I don't remember if you remember my old lives, I had it behind me. I still have it somewhere in the attic or some shit, but so obviously he did. And if you look at the first Sonny Liston fight, once his allergies, like Alex has right now, got off of his face, you could see the sharp punches landing on Sonny Liston. Those were sharp power punches that Sonny Liston started to feel had an effect on him. Because believe me, if Sonny Liston could walk through you, he would. And he couldn't walk through Muhammad Ali. You know what I mean? Young Cassius Clay at the time, at least in the first fight. But another fight, I mean, he took his time. He was methodical, but he took out Foreman. You know what I mean? And if you watch, like, I don't know, man, he hit Frazier with everything in that first fight. With everything. That's one of my favorite fights of all time, by the way. People talk about the Thriller in Manila. They talk about other Ali fights, but that first one in the Garden, the fight of the century, is my personal favorite of Muhammad Ali. Even though he lost, but he got up because he faced a power puncher. He got hit with a power punching hook and got back up, bro. Like you know what I mean? So this is a guy who, by the way, fought a lot of power punchers, and never got knocked out. A heavyweight that never got knocked out, and he got hit a couple times by some of those dudes. He never got knocked out. Shout out to Cooper. I mean, he almost had him, but what I mean. He had a young Ali, but that they tore the gloves, but that's not here nor there. But still, yeah, Ali could crack, bro. He just fought in an era of titans. He fought in an era of great fighters, and he stopped a couple of them. So that he could punch.
He'd probably have 100% knockout percentage in this heavyweight era, right?
Dude, like, what would he do to like just try to imagine this. It's gonna be funny when I say it, but Muhammad Ali in one corner and like Dominic Brazil in the other corner. Like, what would he do to this guy? Like, seriously, like what Brazil lay a glove on him? I don't think so.
Muhammad Ali
I'm talking any Ali. You go 60s Ali. You could give me, 70s Ali, whatever you want.
Ali versus Seth Mitchell.
There you go.
That's what versus Bermani Stavern. I mean, you name the names, he's right there. But I just can't get over the resume. I mean, I always try to wrap my head around that when we talk about Ali. That's the thing that always sticks out to me, is when you go down the resume, when you got guys like Ken Norton 3 times, he beat a prime George Foreman, and he knocked him out by playing a mental game with him and taking hellacious shot after hellacious shot purposely because he knew that's the only way he could win that fight, and going through hell in order to get that victory. Not too many guys in boxing history would have been able to pull that off, would have had the balls to pull that off. Right? That's the only way he could have beat him. And he executed it. He had the balls to execute it. He had the balls to even think about doing it as a strategy, and then went out and executed it against, in his prime, arguably the baddest man to ever walk the plane. I mean, you talk about Tyson, just think about prime George Foreman. And he beat him in that way. Fighting Joe Frazier 3 times. Who the hell does that? And that's what I'm saying, man. Being old and fighting Larry Holmes. The resume. It's the resume, people. It's the resume. And that's why we big up guys like Pacquiao in this modern era. It's the resume. That's what we look at when we look at titans of the sport.
There's something amazing that happened this last year at heavyweight, and it was Usyk beating Anthony Joshua. Why was that amazing, right? Because we were told for a while that a guy the height of Ali, the size, like that frame, couldn't compete in today's era, right? Mm-hmm. That's what we're told. Well, Usyk has a very similar build and height, reach to Ali. And he handled Anthony Joshua. He won 8 rounds to 4 on my card. You know what I mean? Yep. Muhammad Ali would have done just fine in this era.
Yes.
Could he beat Tyson Fury? I think he would have, but I understand it would be a tough fight because of the size.
But go back and watch Tyson Fury versus Steve Cunningham. And Tyson Fury says that was his toughest fight. Now, whether that's true or not, he said that was his toughest fight because he found Cunningham so small and slippery. Like he had trouble finding him in there, and he got knocked down in the second round. So that's USS Cunningham. I think the smaller, much faster, much greater Ali would have given Tyson Fury a lot of problems. I just, even in this era, man, of bigger heavyweights, even against Vladimir, Vitaly, I just can't pick against Ali against anybody who's fought. Maybe Lennox Lewis. Maybe Lennox Lewis, big heavyweight who can execute and find his distance consistently, and who has punching power behind it. But those are all. You asking me who I would pick between Ali and those guys? Ali every time. That's just me.
I agree.
Titan, just an absolute titan, and he's a power puncher, historic power puncher of the week. But let's get to present day, and this is going to be quite the segue. We go from Ali to Joe Smith Jr., who is this week's power puncher of the week, because basically that's all we had to choose from. But what'd you think about Joe Smith Jr.'s performance? And here's the real question, because the performance was the performance. It's everything that we expected. It was a
Joe Smith-ish performance. You know what I mean?
Right. And they had to keep him busy, had a guy pull out, had to find somebody quick. So the question is, did that get you excited about a possible matchup with Canelo? Does that get him a little closer to the front of the line? And if it does, if he does somehow land that shot, do you give him a shot of beating Canelo at 175?
Well, let me answer that last question.
Go ahead.
No, he doesn't. I don't think he could beat Canelo. I don't. It doesn't mean like if Canelo wants to unify, he's got to fight him. You know what I mean? It is what it is, right? But I think he's the same guy. Like I don't think bad about the guy. I think he's a solid, hard-working fighter. Like you know what I mean? Like you're gonna have to work for that win. Even if you handle him and win every round, he's gonna make you work. Like there's no doubt about that. Right. He's a hardworking man.
He's a hardworking man.
He's a hardworking man. But look, I mean, I liked the full body attack coming upstairs. Like it's hard to say he did anything wrong. It's just that's just who he is. Like for me to say, oh, he could have done this better, or he should have, countered more. I just thought like it's asking for him to do something that's not him. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not going to ask him to become another fighter that he just isn't. Joe Smith, to me, and it's a compliment, is a fighter that has maximized his abilities as a fighter and gotten the most out of who he is. And it's great. He's been a world champion. You know what I mean? He's if you're not at least decent, he's going to beat you. Like, you know what I mean? But I don't think he can fuck with the Russians, man. I just don't. You know what I mean? I just don't. I'm sorry. Better Beeb, shout out to Beeb, would beat this guy. And I think the Bivol fight would probably be more one-sided because Bivol already kind of figured him out.
I don't know about that.
I think he figured him out, Kellix. What is Joe Smith going to do differently in that fight?
Yeah, true.
I mean, I guess he could. Look, he could take more chances. He could there are things he could do. Don't get me wrong, right? Mm-hmm. But he's going to have to take. He's going to have. You could have the same style and be the same fighter, but have a different game plan, right? What is it that you think he can do in a rematch with Bivol, or what do you think has changed from Bivol that would make it a different fight?
This is an interesting comment here. Bivol has regressed. Now, I have those same thoughts when I watch Bivol fight. It's like, and I heard Maestro say this on his podcast, it's almost like when you watch Bivol fight, it's a guy who he's kind of in second or third gear and he just doesn't push it to fifth gear. Like he's kind of coasting. Right. So is it that? Is he bored? Or is he really regressing? Regardless, I tend to agree with you that I don't see anything that Joe Smith Jr. could do any different to beat him. I would agree with you that Bivol would beat him. However, I think Beterbiev, whatever we're going to call him, would beat him worse. I think I'm higher on Beterbiev than a lot of other people. I think that's the most interesting matchup to me between 160 and 175 for Canelo. For sure, that's the most interesting matchup for me on paper. Anyway, I think
he'll fuck up Beterbiev. Beterbiev will fuck up Smith, bro.
No, I agree. I'm talking about Canelo though. That's the most intriguing matchup to me between 160 and 175 would be that one. So if we're talking about this, we all want to know who is Canelo fighting next. We all want to know that. And it's coming to that crunch time, right? Because the fight's going to be in May. So you got a couple weeks, a month at the most for Canelo to figure that out. And I think they're playing the media game right now. You go a couple weeks, we're going to fight a cruiserweight. Then you're going to go another couple weeks where, he's going to fight Charlo. And then we're starting to hear rumblings of the purists aren't going to like who Canelo's going to fight next. That's what the insiders are saying. I think Canelo is playing these games with the media, leaking different things, using these guys as leverage. I have no idea who he's going to fight next. The case for Joe Smith Jr., if I am his manager right now, would be he's fought twice in the past 9 months. So he's more active than these guys. He's fought 4 times in the past 2 years, which is active. And we'll get into that more in a little while when we're talking about pound for pound list. But so he's more active than these other guys who are on that Canelo list between 160 and 175. So he's keeping his face out there. Plus, Canelo shows that he likes hardware. So Joe Smith Jr. has a WBO strap at 175. So there's intrigue there. However, I'd much rather other matchups. So that's where I would end on that. I mean, I tend to agree with you that Beterbiev, Bivol again, even Zerto Ramirez, right? I would say that Joe Smith Jr. comes a notch below all those guys. So exciting fighter, fun to watch, hard worker, stays active, does all the right things, but he's limited, right? That would be our assessment of him. He has a ceiling.
Yeah. He has a ceiling, you know. And now, could he be more dangerous in fights against certain guys if he takes more risk, he's willing to kind of go through the fire? Of course. But he's just a guy that's going to have to go baptism by fire in fights where he's in there with a guy that's more skilled than him, you know. So he could do that against Bivol, but I don't know, man. I just think Bivol's bored, bro. I don't think he's inspired by with the guys he's fighting. In my opinion, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, he's coasting. He's coasting right now. So I tend to agree. I think this would be a great move for Canelo right here if he were to fight Charlo.
Get out of the way.
It's an easy stylistic matchup for him, in my opinion. And it's a name. It's a bigger name than some of these other guys, right?
And it's a name that's been spoken about Canelo running. Like, oh, he's running from Charlo. He's running for the hills. He doesn't want to fight Charlo. There's a fan base out there that is waiting to see what the news is, so they could either say he ducked him or they could say he cherry picked him. Like, they're like waiting. I don't know if you guys have noticed, right? There's like this, like when Canelo's like, when there's rumors of Canelo fighting somebody, there's like this dead period, right? Mm-hmm. Of time. Like when somebody shuts it down and says, nah, I don't think it's going to happen. But let's wait and see. There's like this period of time where the guys are waiting to see what they're going to say. You know what I mean? Like, man, I don't know. It's a cherry pick or he's ducking them. I'm just waiting to see what Canelo says. You know what I mean? and that's what it is, bro. Like they're like a lot of these Charlo fans that have been on here for years are waiting to see what if Canelo picks somebody else. Oh, he ducked Charlo. If he picks Charlo, oh, he's fighting up because he's coming off that tough, fight with Montiel. Okay.
It's going to be wrong no matter what he does. To whatever whatever the percentage is of fight fans who are going to criticize Canelo, they're going to criticize Canelo no matter what. They're just going to do it. And you've thrown that out there, and that's why you've told people to take the pledge, and I still don't see people taking the pledge.
Take that pledge, ladies and gentlemen. Take the pledge. You know what I mean? That's all I say.
They're not going to take the pledge.
Now. Don't wait till they announce it. Like, do it now,
No, they're hedging their bets. Hit that like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. If you do one thing, hit that like button. And hit us up in the comment section as well. I don't know about D-Style and beer weight. D-Style, you lost weight, right? Canelo made 57.
But I don't know. Maybe I drank a lot of beer, in the weekend or some shit. I don't know. A lot of celebrating because the Bills won, baby. You know what I mean? So
Bills Mafia.
I did have a lot of beers this weekend, so you never know. Maybe they called it. You never know.
Canelo may be 57-1-2 inside the ring, but with some fans, he can't win. That's a fair assessment right there. With some fans, nobody can win with some fans.
According to Teddy Atlas, he's really 0-1. You know what I mean? But the one time he fought somebody that fought him back, he lost, so he's 0-1.
Is that what he said?
No, well, not really. Remember he said that about Tyson? Tyson's really 0-4.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's really 0-6. Like, I'm like, what? What are you talking about, bro?
Canelo, and I wanted to ask this too, because real quick, I did see rumblings that Canelo's next opponent won't be the boxing purists won't be happy. So the first thing I thought of was, is he going to fight Jake Paul? And I don't think he will. I just don't
I
see that
think
happening.
it's a cruiserweight fight.
I agree. I agree. I don't see that happening.
I think
If
it's McCown.
Canelo were to fight Jake Paul next, we would all call him out here. I'm just going to save you the drama. We would all call him out for doing that. So it's just not going to happen.
Man, that would be the cherry pick of the century. Like, without a shadow of a doubt. But what about those press conferences? So you got to admit, you'll tune in.
Yeah, but that one would get ugly for Jake Paul, because I'll tell you what.
You stupid motherfucker. You better. This is not YouTube, you stupid motherfucker. What is this? YouTube? Over there with your YouTube, you stupid pendejo motherfucker. Get the fuck out of here. Go do a fucking vlog, motherfucker. You know, like, who knows what he would tell them, bro?
You hit you hit it perfect.
Well, why don't you go do a fucking show with those power puncher motherfuckers over there or some shit, motherfucker? You know, like, god damn.
But I'll tell you what, though, that would be a gross miscalculation for Jake Paul, because I'll tell you, there are guys who will carry you. Floyd, these boxers are used to Floyd carrying them in exhibition matches. That's not going to happen with Canelo. Canelo's going to walk in there.
Canelo tried to carry Yildirim. Like, he was actively trying to do it, and Yildirim felt like 60% of the power. He was like, I'm out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm done. Just saying.
It would be fun to watch, though.
But what? Those would be some crazy press conferences, though.
Yeah, they would.
Like, I could just picture Jake Paul being like, "Yeah, you know, I've gone through all the challenges, and you know me, I overcome all obstacles. You know, that's what I've done in my fights. You know, Canelo lost to Floyd. You know, I haven't lost. Like, you know, what the fuck? He'll see some stupid shit like that, bro. Like, I mean, he fought K the Plan, but who's K the Plan? I never heard about him, and then Canelo fought this guy. He's like, who is this guy?
Hey, you know, this is the fight that needs to happen, though. And I'm hearing rumors. That's the fight. I will buy that fight.
I don't trust Chavez Jr., bro.
I don't either, but I will buy it. Dude, that fight has to happen. They're both around the same weight.
Look, Anderson Silva called out Jake Paul. Why do you think that fight?
I'm just saying. I would love that Chavez Jr. fight. And I would give Jake Paul a shot.
Like, Chavez Jr. needs to change his name if he loses. Like, to Chavez Pendejo, like, for the rest of his life. You know what I mean? Like, what? Like, Mr. Pendejo. Like that has to be his legal last name if he loses.
Pendejo?
Pendejo.
I would watch it. I'd fly out to G-Funk.
Julio Cesar Pendejo. Like, you know what I mean? Like, every fight. He's got to fight like 5 more times just so I could hear that announced.
Yeah. Dude, I'm telling you, I'll buy it. But let's get into pound for pound rankings and pound for pound, because I was looking at the 2021 Ring Magazine end of year pound for pound rankings. And we kind of went over it last week about what we call gross inactivity, like chronic inactivity in boxers today. Like guys fighting once a year on pound for pound lists. And it's sad. It used to be like if you fought once in a year, you weren't going to be on the pound for pound list. You just weren't. Now right. Gary Russell Jr. is about to fight for the first time in 2 years. And if he wins, hey, possibly we could think about putting him back in the top 10 pound for pound, right? That's how bad it's gotten with inactivity. But you look at the pound for pound list now, guys are fighting once a year. It made me think, if we go back, let's say 20 years, and I pulled up multiple Ring Magazine, same ratings, same rankings, multiple end of year pound for pound rankings, and compared and contrasted. I want to get your opinion on, is this sort of the era we're in? And I hate to be this guy because I like to be positive.
But you're that guy. No, I mean, let's be honest.
Is this sort of like a, are we in a bad era right now? Are we in a historically bad era of boxing right now, as far as talent goes? If you look at the top of the pound for pound rankings, as far as inactivity goes, and let's just read the pound for pound rankings right now. Ring Magazine, end of year, 2021. Canelo, Usyk, Crawford, Inoue, all 4 of those guys are strong.
Course,
strong.
Sure. Doesn't sound
Josh Taylor, Errol Spence Jr., Didn't fight in 2021, but somehow
Circumstantial though.
Right. Estrada, Lomachenko,
All great
Ioka,
brothers.
and Fury.
Dude,
That's a
those are great
solid.
brothers, brother.
It's a solid top 10, even though these guys are inactive. But let me read you 2001's pound for pound list. Shane Mosley, number 1. B-Hop, number 2. Roy Jones Jr., number 3. Marco Antonio Barrera, number 4.
Mhm.
Floyd Mayweather Jr., number 5. Felix Trinidad, number 6. Oscar De La Hoya, number 7. Now just think of those 7 guys back to back to back to back. First ballot Hall of Famers. I mean, just incredible talent.
Okay.
Ricardo Lopez, Costa Zoo, number 9. Eric Morales, number 10. There's nobody weak in there. There isn't a guy that you can look back at and say, that guy was overrated or that guy shouldn't have been there.
But here's the thing, though, right? I agree that list is better than today's list. Don't get me wrong, right? Although I think De La Hoya is way too high on that list, coming off a loss to Mosley. But hey, whatever, right? I think De La Hoya should have been higher on that list. Both junior middleweights at that point. So, just saying.
I thought you said too high. I was like, at 7.
I think maybe 10. De La Hoya was there because of his name.
You think so?
Yeah.
Because those were close fights.
No, I get it, but but luck. Cool. Okay. Check it out. In my opinion, even of course that list is better, Calix, but does that mean that today's list is weak? A weak era? Not necessarily. I think what we are in is a transitional era. And some may even say we got to give a little bit of leeway because of COVID. It's a pandemic that happened that really canceled boxing completely for a while. And it took boxing a while to get back. There was no fans allowed in arenas. So we got to kind of wait and see what happens this year. What if we get Crawford Spence this year? Well, what if Canelo unifies 175? Or what if Estrada Chocolatito going to fight again? You know what I mean? There's a lot that's going to happen. What if Usyk fights Fury? Now, granted, I know what people are going to say. Damn, these guys are very hopeful. But what if, right? We are in a transitional era, and let's wait and see how this list looks next year. You know what I mean? Because it might look phenomenal next year. We might look at it and be like, man, these guys did some shit this year. Lomachenko's lightweight champion again. Canelo unified. Estrada Chocolatito had another classic. Inoue moved up division, won another belt, or unified, or he fought Nonito Donaire in a rematch. Whatever it is. You know what I mean?
I try to look at it as, and it's hard to believe 2001 was 20 years ago. My God. But 2041, if we're doing this podcast in 2041, how are we going to be looking at 2021's list that I just gave you, that snapshot in 20 years? Are we going to be saying, oh, Josh Taylor, that guy was, that guy is a Hall of Famer? Tyson Fury, what are we going to be thinking about his run at heavyweight? Was it overvalued? Was it undervalued? Estrada, will he be up there with the guys that I mentioned from 2001? That's how I look at it.
Estrada, yes.
How is Errol Spence? How is his career going to age? I have a lot of question marks when it comes to fighters today. Outside of that top 4, there are a lot of question marks because that top 4 is solid.
There is.
Although Terrence Crawford's resume is thin, and I hope he gets it together as far as getting top fights to cap off his career, sort of like Andre Ward did to cement his legacy. But that top 4 is solid. I mean, it's solid. But from 5 to 10, it starts to get a bit iffy.
I mean, let's do this.
Maybe
compare. Let's go down the list, right, and compare who's won and who's won.
Shane Mosley and Canelo. That's pretty.
Okay. All
Then
right.
you got number 2, you got Usyk and B-Hop.
Okay.
Number 3, you got Crawford and Roy Jones.
All right. It is kind of close, so I'm not gonna lie. It's not that one-sided yet.
I mean, Roy though, 2001 Roy. I mean, come on. Marco Antonio Barrera in a way. I guess what I'm hinting at is these guys from 2001 at that
Hey.
point, they went through a lot to get to where they were. Correct?
Yes. Of course.
Would you argue
Different
the
era.
same for guys like Crawford? In a way, would you say they've been through heat to get where they are to this
I mean,
point? Do they have significant career defining victories up to this point? Outside of talent, what's their legacy up to this point? I guess is what I'm saying. And they're
like they
not
had,
young.
like
No, they're
Crawford
not
has
young.
Crawford has the resume on paper, right? Like it sounds good, undisputed, 140 pounds, and you know what I mean. Like he has that. He has title defenses, this many, 8 straight knockouts, stuff like that. But all Crawford needs, dude, is like it's kind of like Steve Young said this, right? Great quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. He said, I had all these accomplishments, MVP, and so many wins, and so many comeback wins, and so many playoff appearances, so many made it to the NFC Championship X amount of times, but I needed that Super Bowl. And because that little bag I had with all those little cute accomplishments, when I won a Super Bowl, that bag got bigger. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's what Crawford needs. Crawford beats the Spence. It solidifies like, okay, well, that means everything this dude did was great because look, he just beat Spence. You know, that's what Crawford needs. He's just missing that one defining fight. Like if this was a movie, like we're not at the end of the movie yet. Like, there's no like, you know, we're kind of just waiting to see what's going to happen right now.
We're about 80% in.
Yeah, he needs that big defining fight. But you could argue this though: does Canelo have that big defining fight yet?
Yeah, Canelo's got a lot of names though. He's got a deep resume. I don't know if he has that career defining. Maybe you can say becoming undisputed at 168 sort of gives him that in 3 fights. But yeah, I understand what you're saying, and that's what I was saying.
Canelo's resume can go like it's like this, right? At least at undisputed. I'm talking about the undisputed. If Plant gets knocked out in the next fight, you know what I mean? And then Billy Joe gets knocked out, and then Smith like doesn't do anything for the rest of his career, and you know, I mean, it's just like that happened to Crawford. Like Ndongo started losing to everybody, and Ndongo lost to Regis Paragas. Remember Spence told everybody? He lost to Regis Paragas. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, like, you know.
This is a fair comment too, though. Like, I think a lot of times we get nostalgia. I'll put myself in this, and I won't put you in this. I get nostalgia, and I say I automatically put guys that I watched growing up above guys today. And I think it has something to do with I'm older than these guys now. Yeah. I'm not in awe of these guys how I was when I was growing up and watching Roy Jones fight. And you look at Roy Jones's resume and you're like, did he really go through heat outside of James Toney up to that point?
Yeah, like he kind of, every time I talk to Roy Jones fans, right, about his resume, they and rightfully so, they bring up the B-Hop win, right? Great win. And they bring up the win against James Toney, another great win, right? Now, first of all, most of you have only seen the knockdown, okay? Like, I could guarantee you this, bro. Most have not seen the whole fight. But it was a great knockdown, you know what I mean? That he stole from a cockfight. Remember that? but after that, it is, you know, there's a lot left to be desired. Let's just say that. You know what I mean?
Right.
That there was, like, he wouldn't get away with it today with social media and those dudes,
Right.
The other guys you should have fought would have been like on the zone or something. You know what I mean? Like there would be no avoiding it, or there would be a top rank or like. So back then you could literally sign a deal with HBO and like just write it. You know what I mean? And you still see some of that today, but you know, Roy Jones, still a great fighter. Don't get me wrong, but you know,
It's just I have to check myself sometimes
there was
because
a lot of. I mean, Roy will beat him anyway, going on for sure.
yeah, I have to
I was
check
guilty
myself
of that.
sometimes though in multiple sports because when me and Hale talk about basketball, it's this guy could do no wrong, Michael Jordan, and I would put Charles Barkley above, let's say, Kevin Garnett or something like that. Guys who played in the era that I watched coming up, I automatically put higher than guys today. And he's like, dude,
Right.
you can't do that. Some of these guys that are playing today, like Kevin Durant, you can't just automatically assume that Larry Bird is better than Kevin Durant. Although I would put Larry Bird above Kevin Durant, but he says it's
First
closer
of all,
than you
Kelly,
think.
you're just supposed to compare Larry to other white players. That's what the media does. You know what I mean? That's the only time Larry Bird's compared to anybody.
I know.
Like, they'll compare Larry Bird to like a 7-footer. You know, it doesn't even play the same position. You know what I mean? Like,
I know, but I have to check myself with that nostalgia because it could be true. It could be a blind spot for me. But when I go back and look at some of these pound for pound lists, I'm like, man, these pound for pound lists from the 90s and early 2000s were strong, especially late 80s. They were strong. And you look at pound for pound lists the past couple of years and you're like, are we in a weak era? Are these guys just not going for greatness right now?
I've always said this, bro. I honestly do think we have some great talent. There's a lot of talented fighters out there. There is. Like, these guys are talented. But then steel sharpens steel, bro. Like they're not fighting each other and getting better because of it. That's the problem. Like I saw Doug Fisher. There's a great shot. I forget the name of the channel. I apologize. Blue something. Somebody can put in the chat. I saw Doug Fisher talking like to it was James Toney, Zab Judah, Hearns, and I know I'm forgetting somebody else. Buddy McGirt, right? And he's telling these guys like, you know, I don't like it, but I understand it. Like I'm seeing the Charlos on YouTube with a nice house and nice cars and living a good life, right? And he's like, I look at their resume and it's like they haven't really fought anybody, but can I get mad at them? Can I blame them if this is like literally giving them a great life, who they're fighting and all that? Like that there's no like back in the day, if you wanted those big paydays, you had to go through the gauntlet. You had to go walk in the lion's den. You know what I mean? And think of Rocky. I know you don't like the movie Rocky 3, right? But you know, but you could admire the whole storyline, right? Of like outside of all the meat and like take the meat out of the bones. Just look at just the raw storyline, which is Mr. T, Clubber Lang, sees Rocky, the champion, right? And it's like, I want what he's got. I'm the best. He's a champion. So what does he do? He starts tearing through the whole fucking division until he's a number one contender, and he forces Mickey to retire Rocky because he wants no piece of him, right? That's not a thing anymore. Like, if Rocky 3 was made today, the storyline would be something like Clubber Lang fights nobody and just waits for the call from Rocky. Rocky's ducking me. Are you going to fight anybody, Clubber? No. Well, what for? They're going to pay me $2 million to fight this nobody over here. What?
That's
Why
what
the fuck would I
concerns me,
fight
though.
Rocky?
Is I've always said boxing history tells us that talent is going to recycle itself. Like if you look at pound for pound lists back then, I mean, you had guys like Chavez, Pernell Whitaker. They hand the torch over to guys like De La Hoya and say a Mayweather, De La Hoya and Roy Jones and James Toney, who then it goes to Mayweather and Pacquiao, who then handed to Canelo. And there's overlapping, of course. I mean, it's not just a clean hand torch, right? A torch, it's not a clean handoff. It's overlapping, but it happens. The talent always recycles itself. So what concerns me now is does this current climate of guys being overpaid to fight once a year against average talent, on top of that, there are theories that these guys are fighting once a year because they're cycling on and cycling off, so they can't stay active. I hope that's not the case, but that's just a theory out there. Does this climate, is it not conducive to the talent being recycled in the future? 10 years from now, is the cupboard going to be bare, or at least close to it? I can't think that. I can't think that way because history tells me that through all of that, you're going to have enough guys who want greatness, who want legacy, who will continue to carry this sport on. I hope that happens. But right now, I'm a little concerned.
I don't know, Calix, because like the way the sport's structured right now, fighters get paid like it's bro. This is a problem with sports in general, but in boxing specifically, the way it's structured, it hurts us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guys don't need to prove themselves first before they get the deal, before they get the big contract, before they get the big paydays, or before like they get like the Nike deal, whatever it is, right? Michael Jordan speaks to that. A lot of athletes have spoken to that about that.
Mm-hmm.
I saw like Hearns and other guys say the same thing in terms of boxing. A lot of like if there's a hot prospect and Eddie Hearn signs that prospect and he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna get you, 900,000 guaranteed every fight. They're not gonna put that dude with any killers. They're gonna put him in there with someone that's gonna make him look good. They're gonna protect that O, and when that contract runs out, they're gonna want more money, and then they might go up a level of competition, and they're gonna fight accordingly. That's just the way it's done now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just, unfortunately, unless that changes, and I hope it does, because I know there's a lot of guys that don't like Canelo and all that, but him being active, fighting 3 times a year,
big.
That's a big deal. You know what I mean? That's going to send a message to fighters. Yeah, maybe I should be active. You know what I mean? At the end of the day.
Now, I wanted to ask you 2 questions while we're on pound for pound. And then we'll get on to boxing trivia in a bit as well. Boxing trivia is back. I see Nando in there. Let's see if he can get his title back. I don't see Run PMC in the building, so Nando might have a shot. G Funky might have a shot. I don't see Run PMC in the building. So
I don't know what happened with him.
When I do look at past pound for pound rankings, I see a couple names pop up, like Juan Manuel Lopez at number 10 in 2010. I see Broner pop up at number 6 in 2012. So you have guys that pop up like that.
Okay.
And you say to yourself, man, that aged badly. That aged badly. Do you see that guy when I throw out this top 10 pound for pound list current? Do you see that guy in that list now where 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we're going to say, you know what, that aged badly?
Read off that list really quick for me.
Right now, it's Canelo, Usyk, Crawford, Inoue, Taylor, Spence, Estrada, Lomachenko, Ioka, and Fury.
First of all, that's a solid list. Let me just say it right now.
It really is.
But if there's one, and I'm not throwing any shade at him, I'm a big fan of Monster Inoue. I am. Okay? But if Donaire knocks him out in the rematch, if the rematch happens, that one will not age well. Mm-hmm. And that'll be unfair because Inoue moved up from lower weight classes. This is him, like, for Inoue's the little guy in his weight classes. I don't think people understand that, by the way.
Right.
And he's fighting a guy that's big. Like, he's being outweighed by a lot here, right? But that's not going to matter. Like, the little nuances I just explained are not going to matter. Like now, do I think that's going to happen? No. I do believe Inoue would beat Donaire in the rematch, and I have a lot of respect for Donaire, but I don't think he could beat Inoue. When you hit a guy with everything you got, Calix, and he still stands there and knocks you down instead, that tells me everything. You know what I mean? So, especially in these weight classes. But Inoue is the one with more to risk. Another one is Lomachenko. if Lomachenko loses his next fight, and like this is one of the problems when you just jump right in, in the lion's den, and
I don't
I get
agree
it.
with that one necessarily because I feel like the Lomachenko correction has already come. Like they had him high one or two, and then he didn't
No,
look
but what
good
I'm
against
saying is,
Tiafimo at all.
imagine that fall from grace, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I think they moved him too fast. That's my opinion. I felt that way from when they announced the Salido fight. I said, why? Like, well, why not just have a couple more fights and then fight Salido? No, we're gonna do it now. Okay, well, and now, like, yeah, he improved, but like you got to deal with that loss now. It gets brought up all the time by guys that don't like him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But if losing 3 times when you only have 15 wins, it's kind of a big deal. You know what I mean? The way it looks on a resume, people are going to look back. But who is the Vasyl Lomachenko guy? Like, what? He's 18 and 9. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm just saying, like
you're getting way you're talking about a real fall from grace then, because that would be a big time fall from grace.
It would be because he didn't have that. Like, people are very fickle and very simple minded. You know what I mean?
I just don't see that guy, Juan Manuel Lopez and Broner. Those are two guys who had the fall from grace that you're talking about, and I don't see that guy on the top 10 pound for pound list currently. But if there is one that could have that fall from grace, it's Errol Spence because of what he's been through. And let's say he fights Ugas and loses that fight, which is possible. He could possibly get 3 or 4 losses, and you're like, Errol Spence at 6, they had him that high at that point. I don't think that's going to happen, but I don't really see that guy that 5 years from now, we're going to be like, I can't believe they had him there, because Broner was always way too high. And then Juan Manuel Lopez at 10, you're like, he should have never been there. Those are those guys. Now, on the flip side of that, I look back at some of these lists and say, oh, that's missing a guy that should have been there. Do you see that guy now that's not on the list, that not on this list, that should be on that list, that we're going to be like, oh, he should have been on that list at that point? Like the guy that I'm looking at right now,
sure,
Shakur Stevenson, because he's right there close. And I think if they give him the Oscar Valdez fight in April, I'm telling you, I think he's going to show out in that fight.
Yeah, that's a good name. I mean, I'm kind of surprised Cambosos isn't on there.
True.
I'm not saying he should be on there, but I'm surprised he's not, because he's just being a pound for pound guy. Tio is one that people could go back and be like, man, look at where they had this dude. Then it could happen.
You know why Camboso should be on there? Because they sort of had a round robin there, and Lomachenko loses to Tiafimo, and then Cambosos comes around and beats Tiafimo and beats him up. So why isn't Cambosos the top of 135 in the top 10 pound for pound instead of Lomachenko? I think Lomachenko belongs in the top 10. Don't get me wrong, but why isn't Cambosos ahead of him? Maybe
I'll tell you what else is
resume,
crazy.
but that's a big win.
Usyk's number 2, right?
Yeah,
heavyweight champion. Fury's number 10, heavyweight champion.
Right.
I guarantee you the bookies would have Fury as a favorite.
Oh yeah,
no doubt. Guarantee it.
There's no doubt. Which it gets confusing, right? When you start to put heavyweights in pound for pound lists. It's always been confusing to me. I understand Usyk being on there because Usyk moved up from cruiserweight to heavyweight. So you're like, oh, that's a big achievement. He's a smaller guy fighting at heavyweight, but he's not a small heavyweight historically. And heavyweights on pound for pound lists have always been sort of confusing for me. I don't really know how to judge that.
I mean, it's whatever to me at this point with the heavyweights on the list, but because heavyweight enthusiasts get mad when I give my argument why it's kind of doesn't make sense to have them on there, but whatever, you know what I mean? Like, we're pretending they're all the same size, D style. Like, okay. All right.
So that brings us to boxing trivia. All you people in the chat, let's get ready for some boxing trivia. That was some good pound for pound talk. Let me clean the slate here. The first person to comment, whoever gets that comment in first, gets it. All right. We have a short one tonight, only 4 questions, 3 from me, 1 from D Style. And not that difficult. You know, we're just getting our ring rust back as far as boxing trivia. We want to make it a little easier for people tonight. So I got 3 questions, and then D Style is going to ask his question. So I'm going to ask the question. Whoever gets that comment in first is the winner of that question. Whoever gets the most questions right is the winner. You all know how it plays out. And if there are any discrepancies, me and D-Style will both look at our comments, because sometimes the comment comes in earlier on mine than it does on his. We'll both look at it. Whoever got it in first is the winner there. So first question, and this is an easy one. This is a quick one. Eric Morales turned pro in what year? What year did Eric Morales turn pro?
I'm ashamed to know that I don't know the answer to this question. I just got to be straight up with y'all. I don't know the answer to this question.
You get your answers in. Let's see who gets it in first.
I already know the answer.
Nope, Nando, not 97. If you don't know, just keep guessing. There it is. The coat, Mario P. 1993. Eric Morales turned pro. Oh, Run PMC's in the building, but he got it wrong. 95. So we got the GOAT, Mario P, is on the board.
By the way, real quick, guy, make sure you're live. If you're 2-3 minutes behind, you know what I mean? To make sure you're live.
That's right. Make sure you're live, because people do that too. They're commenting on old stuff. So the GOAT, Mario P, got it. You don't have to keep guessing. He guessed again. You got it, 1993.
I think we should have like a one guess rule, but that's me.
So, second question. The GOAT Mario P is on the board. The second question, Marco Antonio Barrera suffered his first pro defeat at the hands of which opponent?
Come on.
Let's see who gets it first. You guys should know this.
Let's go,
Marco
people.
Antonio Barrera suffered his first pro defeat at the hands of which opponent? Who beat Barrera first? There it is. Who got it first? Oh, Run PMC got it in right before the GOAT.
Y'all just gonna let Run PMC show up late and still be y'all? You know what I mean?
You know what? I think he's been in there the whole time. He's been lurking. He thought that he was letting Nando feel like he had a shot, and it just what the GOAT the GOAT Run PMC is back in the building.
I mean, he's so dominant that Chicano stopped trying to win. He's like active cheerleader of Run PMC. You know what I mean? He's got like a hype man, bro. Like the almighty Run PMC in the building. Like, you know what I mean? Like, whoa, what's
the GOAT, the 5-time back-to-back champion, Run PMC. Third question.
Okay. Oh, we got like a Cowboys 49ers type, a controversy here. GOAT said he had it first. You know what I mean?
All right, look at yours. Because on mine, I got Run PMC.
Okay, let's go. 93, right?
Junior Jones. We're looking at the Junior Jones.
822. One. I see the GOAT, but I don't see Run PMC's.
No. I'm talking about Junior Jones. Look at
Junior Jones. Okay. Junior Jones. It is Run PMC.
Right.
823 Run PMC, the GOAT 824.
Yep. That's what I got as well. All right.
We have reviewed the play. No controversies, okay? Like no Junior Jones gate.
Terry Norris won his first junior middleweight title by defeating which opponent? Terry Norris.
Where's Lee Groves, by the way? He would dominate this. You know what I mean?
Won his first junior middleweight title by defeating which opponent? Let's see what we got. Who's going to get it? Not Ray Leonard, not none.
Come on, Ray Leonard. Come on, people.
There it is. Lee Groves is on the board. Uh-oh, we got a 3-way tie.
So Lee Groves comes in, boom. Like he gave him 2 gimmies, and he just comes in. Like, okay,
Mugabe, everybody. That is the answer.
Let me come in. Here you go. You know what I mean? Let me put my points in. You know what I mean? There we go.
So look, man. This is close. We got a 3-way tie with 1 question left, and you've got the question, D-Style. And this is a fun one. I love these. Explain to everybody what's about to happen.
So we're going to do, I know we came up with a name for it, and I forgot the name for this, but I guess
Degrees
Connect the Fighter. We're going to call it that, okay? So the way this works, and let me just give you an example, okay? It's like if I say, hey, connect Eric Morales to De La Hoya, right? And you got to do it with fights. So you could say, well, De La Hoya fought Pacquiao and Pacquiao fought Morales. There, you connected them. You know what I mean? No, it's obviously not going to be that easy. Again, you're going to connect them with fights. It doesn't matter who won the fight, the result of the fight, as long as those two fighters fought, and then one of those fighters fought somebody else, one of those fighters fought somebody else, and then you get to the other fighter, okay? Now, today is the 80th birthday of who, Calix?
Muhammad Ali, the great one.
The GOAT, Muhammad Ali, right? Dominant in the 60s, had a second reign in the 70s. This dude had like 2 reigns, bro, in 2 decades. This is crazy. You can't make this shit up. You know what I mean? Connect the great Muhammad Ali, but we're going to go ahead and do this. We need to go to Ali. You know what I mean? How do we get to the GOAT? You know what I mean? Let's start with an active fighter today. Let's start with Yordenis Ugas.
Oh.
Take me from Yordenis Ugas all the way to the great Muhammad Ali. There's multiple ways to do it, right? I already know the shortest way. So whoever gets that one automatically wins. But go ahead and do that connection for me. Connect Yordenis Ugas and who did he fight? And who did that person fight? And who did that person fight? Up until you can say, and then this person fought Muhammad Ali. We're going to do that
tough.
connection right now. You know what I mean? Can you all do it is all I want to know. So right now, these guys are panicking because they asked Alexa, and Alexa's like, I don't know. You don't say.
Nando gave up.
I don't know. Like, what the fuck? Like, Alexa's like, I don't know the answer to this question. You ask Google, and it's like, what? Like, what the hell? We'll let about a minute pass, and I'll help you guys out with the first fighter. Okay, how about that?
Wait, Haplo's got something. Let's see. I'm not gonna put it up until Pacquiao, Dell, Hopkins.
Yeah, but Hopkins never fought Tony.
Right.
Hopkins never fought Tony, brother. You got to correct that.
I feel like he was on a good track.
But now he helped a lot of you out. Now it's a matter of who can type faster. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
If you want some breadcrumbs, look at what Haplo posted. If you want some breadcrumbs,
he left some good breadcrumbs. You know what I mean?
Yes, he did. He was close.
He's just missing. Like all you got to do. I'm not going to say much.
No, don't say because he is close.
And you guys got to type the whole thing, by the way. None of this.
Yeah,
just you got to type the whole thing. Give us the whole thing. Todo. You know what I mean? Cuando yo digo todo es todo. Everything. All right?
Wait, let's see. We might have something here. Pacquiao, De La Hoya, B-Hop, Roy Jones, James Toney, Holyfield, Tyson, Burbick, Ali. That's it, right?
Connected it.
He connected it. We got a new champion. Ugas, Pacquiao, De La Hoya, B-Hop to Roy Jones. So let me start from the beginning. Ugas fought Pacquiao, who fought De La Hoya, who fought B-Hop, who fought Roy Jones, who fought James Toney, who fought Evander Holyfield, who fought Tyson Burbick, who fought Ali. And he says, I am the GOAT. And Run PMC was right. Let's see what he had. Ugas, before we coronate the GOAT. Ugas, Pacquiao, De La Hoya, Hopkins, Roy Jones, Ruiz, Holyfield, Foreman, Ali. Yeah, he got there a little shorter, but my man, the GOAT, we got a new champion, D-Style. The GOAT, Mario P, is the new Power Punchers Boxing Trivia Diamond Belt champion.
But Ron PMC did get the shorter version.
He did, but not in time. We just said get there. We didn't say you had to get there.
Fair enough.
Get there. So congrats to
I was trying to remember the Hopkins Tony fight. Like, what? Like, they fought? What the hell? Maybe they
congrats
did.
to the
Maybe
GOAT.
they had like a Rocky Apollo in secret fight. You know what I mean?
Maybe they sparred. Maybe they had a secret sparring session. But the GOAT Mario P is the new champion. He has knocked off the Titan. What a run PMC had. I mean, he really had a great run. That was 5 straight weeks. He was not only winning, but dominating. And we got a guy, the GOAT, Mario P, come in and take down his undefeated record.
I got to say this, though. Haplo found a shorter way to get there than the one I sent you with Foreman.
Mm-hmm.
I completely forgot about Foreman. I did everything. I was going Holyfield, Tyson Holmes. Like, you know what I mean? But you could go Holyfield, you could skip Tyson Holmes, just go Foreman.
Haplo was close. He just had that one missing link right there in the middle. I mean, he was there though. He was right there.
He had it. Like it's one of those like Dak Prescott. Like, you know what I mean? Like he had it, but he didn't. You know what I mean? Like
he had it, then he ran a quarterback sneak with 14 seconds left and didn't hand the ball to the ref.
Now I have before we close out, Alex, I want to let everybody know.
Go.
Tomorrow, 8CP podcast. We're going to have that great artist, Patrick Killian, on from the UK. He's giving away 2 posters. Okay, look, Alex won one that's right there. You know what I mean? So plenty of people have won, some stuff from Killian himself. I invited him on the show and he volunteered. He said, "Hey, I want to give away some posters." Like, okay. And he said, "I'm going to give away a Canelo one. It's a painting of after he defeats Plant, and he's kind of standing on the first rope." And then he's like, "You know what? It's Ali's 80th, so we're going to give away tomorrow. That is a painting of Muhammad Ali as well. Not the painting, but the poster. Okay, the paintings are worth thousands of dollars, ladies and gentlemen. But you can get the poster though. You know what I mean? And he's going to give them away. So go to my community page, comment on there. That's one entry. Go to my YouTube, D-Style Boxing, retweet. That's another entry. You know what I mean? Go to my Instagram and comment in the bottom. That's another entry. Multiple entries. Give yourself all the opportunities to win. That was Calix's. Wasn't that your game plan?
It was, and by the way, that wasn't fixed. It really wasn't. I got lucky with that.
I used, and it's a well-known website, the little turning thing, the Wheel of Doom, whatever they call it. So that's what I use. I shared on the screen, and that's what it is, right? So there we go. Check out Chile tomorrow for sure. Okay. Absolutely. Check them out. And of course, you know what I mean? I'm going to put the link to the channel right now on the chat, but go to the Shoe Shine right after Power Punchers. Okay.
Right now.
Make sure you guys check them out. Right. The link's in the chat right now. I just posted it. So you guys go over there, check out 408 and True Evo. Check them out.
And there is the link right there. I'm about to log off. Y'all make sure to go straight over there. Check out the Shoe Shine. There is the link right there. Click on it and get you some more HCP action. On that note, great show again, D-Style. Congratulations to GOAT Mario P. Hopefully he'll be back next week to defend. And I'm sure
I should call himself the GOAT. Well, he's not the GOAT yet. He needs like 5 more chips, right?
Yeah. Run PMC is still the GOAT of this. Don't get that twisted. But we'll see. We'll see if he come back next week. On that note, we are out. God bless y'all. Peace.